This is a very basic review of 25 easy bebop licks for upright bass by Cole Davis. The 5-second review is you should go and get it immediately. It is available as complimentary sheet music from Double Bass HQ, which, if you want some useful bass tips in your inbox every once in a while, is a good thing to subscribe to. The 10-second review of the book it's very good, but it raises some important questions and has some issues. And so we'll get into those questions in a moment. As I was downloading it, I was delighted to find that it is each lick is in all 12 keys. So it gives you lick 1, and it gives you in C, and then in D flat, and then in D, and so on. And then it gives you some commentary on the licks and why they're arranged the way they are. And then goes on to lick 2, and it probably continues that for 25 licks. I have only gotten to about lick 5, so there's obviously a lot I don't know about this book. However, there are some important issues to raise. Number 1 is that he has arranged the licks in half steps, and I think that is actually a pretty good idea. It's not the only idea. You could also arrange these licks in fourths, which would maybe be a little bit more musical, but I think for the thing that he has going, the half-step arrangement is good. So the C lick is followed by the D flat lick. What that does is it gets you into a mindset where your hand is moving very little from lick to lick. So the D flat lick feels a lot like the C lick. Except he hasn't really done that. What do I mean? Well, if you're arranging a book like that, the fingering for the C lick should be a lot like the fingering for the D flat lick. And that's not what he's done. He uses a lot of open strings. So for that C lick, you can play the open G, and for the D flat lick, there is no open A flat, so you have to close that. So his fingerings differ radically from one lick to the next. And it kind of looks like a guy who's just trying to grab the notes somehow. It's not really a system, let alone a good system. So if I were you, after I downloaded this book, I would take your red pen and revise the fingerings. Now, my philosophy with learning is do it the way the teacher wants you to do it and see the beauty. But I didn't have to do that very long before I realized this wasn't a system at all, let alone a good system. The other thing to consider when you're writing anything like this is, okay, the C lick should obviously be in the key of C, no sharps, no flats. When you move to the D flat lick, should you put a big key signature at the beginning of the D flat lick? Or should you leave it in C and flat every single thing you have to flat? There's a lot that should be said about this, and very little that is said about it. The Charlie Parker Omnibook, famously, is in C and doesn't give any rationale as to why. It's just all sharps and flat. You flat every single note, every single measure. But I have heard some criticism of that. One of my teachers in college was ranting about something, and he said, oh yeah, people think that they'll just sight read the Omnibook, and they say, oh, it'll help me with my sight reading. But it won't help you with your sight reading because it's not in any key. So that's something to think about. Reading this book really made me come down hard on the side of change keys every time you change licks. Because when I see a sharp or a flat or a natural, that tells my brain that something is new and different, like I'm going outside the key. And if I'm in the key of D flat and I see an A flat, I think, this is something new and interesting and weird. But it's not. It's just that I'm in the key and I don't have a key signature. The other good reason to write things in key signatures is there is some mistakes. There are some mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes, and we're not going to hold this against Cole Davis too much. But if you look at lick 3, uh, the very first lick has a mistake in it. The and of three is written as an A natural, and that's not what he's going for. And at first I thought that every other lick was wrong, but no, it's just that the first lick is wrong. Um, and that means that it's hard to trust what Cole's laying out for you. You really have to be on your toes. And I don't think he would have made that mistake if he was just doing it in a key signature. But maybe not. He made that mistake on the first lick, and he was in the key of C. So maybe he would have. I don't know. Um, so and the last thing to think about is these bebop licks that he's got are hard to keep in tune because they are chromatic, and the bass, the upright bass, has got this great big neck on it. So it would be really good if he or someone would go into iReal Pro and make a play along for this that went D minor for 2 beats, G7 for 2 beats, C major for 4 beats. Oh, and now E flat minor, and we're in the key of D flat, E flat minor for 2 beats, A flat 7 for 2 beats, D flat major for 2 beats. If you have made that, that would be great. Please post this in the comments below. Last thing is, he does a really good job of explaining it. Like, this isn't just a book of licks. It's sort of a good intro to playing bebop. And it's good for me, who's been playing bebop for a lot of years, but I think it would also be good for someone who's just discovering it. His 80-20 rule is that bebop is 20% wrong notes, and those wrong notes resolve to right notes, which I think is a really good way of thinking about it. And he has some other really good insights in the book. So again, I would go out and get this, and if you do it not today, it's probably worth money. But for now, you can get it for free at Double H HQ. Thank you very much.